It was Europe which proved Mrs Thatcher's undoing, and it made John Major's life as Prime Minister a misery. Could David Cameron be about to suffer the same fate? A man who knows only too well the cost of splits in government is Michael Heseltine, who quit over the Westland affair.
I have resigned from the Cabinet and I will make a full statement later today.
He says the Prime Minister mustn't give in to demands to allow Cabinet colleagues the freedom to campaign against him.
It would have the effect of opening up a divide in the Cabinet itself. It would have the effect of him appearing not to have control of events of his own colleagues. And I remember vividly what happened to the Labour Party when they adopted a similar policy. In fact, it opened up a fatally destructive split.
Back in 1975, Mrs Thatcher's Tories were united in wanting to remain in the then common market. Labour ministers were allowed to campaign as they wished. Some argue the party never recovered.
You're saying it's fundamentally misguided to think that cabinet ministers can have the freedom to contradict the Prime Minister?
I think you've only got to put the question in the terms you do to answer it. It's quite inconceivable that you can have a sort of civil war in the Cabinet.
And therefore ministers who disagree with the Prime Minister, can they realistically stay in the Cabinet?
I think that they have a choice. If they feel that there is a destiny for this country in the Middle Atlantic, well, then they should be free to say so, but they can't do so in a Cabinet that is committed to the European agenda.
But some Conservatives believe that David Cameron has won so few concessions from the EU, whipping colleagues into line won't work.
Given how very thin the Prime Minister's demands are at the moment, it'd just be wholly unconvincing if certain members of the Cabinet who've campaigned all their political lives for a different relationship with our European neighbours, if they're forced to carry on and support what is a very, very thin settlement.
History, though, suggests the Prime Minister might be well advised to keep his cabinet on side if he's to win his referendum and not be destroyed by divisions over Europe. Libby Vina, News at 10, Westminster.